The winter of 1995 had turned Grozny into a graveyard of steel and stone. Once the heart of Chechnya, the capital now lay in ruins, its skeletal buildings pierced by artillery, its streets carved with tank treads and stained by blood. Amid the chaos, the Russian military waged a relentless war against Chechen separatists. But behind the front lines, in the cracks between battles, a silent war of shadows unfolded. Sergeant Andrei Volkov and his four-man reconnaissance team from Spetsnaz GRU had been deployed under the cover of night. Their mission: confirm the rumored arrival of a foreign mercenary commander supplying advanced anti-tank weapons to the rebels in District 17, an area the Russians had failed to control since the war began. The team's call sign was Vega 4, and they were ghosts, sent ahead of artillery, bombers, or tank columns. They worked alone, they never used radios unless absolutely necessary, and they never left a trail. They moved silently through the ruins, draped in snow, camouflage capes. Flakes fell gently, covering boot prints and broken bones alike. The city was so quiet that even breath felt too loud. Beside Volkov, Corporal Yuri Bear Sokolov, the heavy weapons man, scanned the alley with thermal optics. No movement. Just wreckage. Behind them, Private Ilya Mikhailov, the youngest, barely 19, checked his bearings. He'd only seen real combat once during a failed assault in Argun and still flinched at distant echoes. Rounding out the team was Senior Lieutenant Oksana Belova, a reconnaissance specialist and sniper whose quiet intensity unnerved even her comrades. She spoke rarely, but when she did, everyone listened. They reached a blown-out apartment block. From the roof, Belova set up her rifle and optics. District 17 lay ahead, half lit by fires, patrolled by armed rebels, and riddled with escape tunnels. Somewhere within was their target, a man known only as Al-Jabbar, said to be ex-special forces turned arms dealer. Through her scope, Belova observed a three-story building at the end of Lenin Street. It had guards, power, and intermittent radio chatter picked up from an intercepted signal days earlier. "There," she said. "That's the nest." Volkov nodded. "We need eyes inside." They descended and made their way to a sewer grate, prying it open. The Chechens often used the sewers for ambushes, but so did Spetsnaz. It was the only way to reach the objective undetected. Inside the tunnels, the air was thick with rot and damp. Rats scurried. Water trickled. Mikhailov held his breath at the stench, but Belova moved like a panther, silent and fluid. An hour later, they emerged into the basement of a ruined clinic. From there, they could access the rear of the target building. Bear set up a motion sensor and claymore behind them, just in case. Volkov and Belova crept through the ruined halls. They found a stairwell and ascended to the second floor. Through a cracked door, they saw him Al-Jabbar, tall, bearded, wearing a tactical vest and speaking Arabic into a satellite phone. Two men flanked him, both armed with RPGs. Belova began filming through a thermal scope, capturing evidence. Volkov tapped her shoulder. "Mark the route. We move out." But just as they turned, a floorboard groaned under Mikhailov's foot. The door burst open. "Stoy!" shouted a rebel in Russian. The hallway exploded into gunfire. Volkov returned fire, downing one assailant. Belova dragged Mikhailov into cover, his arm bleeding. "Back to the tunnel!" Volkov barked. They ran, bullets trailing behind. Bear hit the claymore trigger as they passed. An explosion rocked the tunnel entrance, buying them precious seconds. Outside, the snowfall had turned to a blizzard. They navigated the ruined streets, dragging Mikhailov, who was slipping into shock. Belova stabilized him while Bear provided cover. Volkov radioed command, breaking silence. "Vega 4 to Icebreaker. We have confirmation on the target. Repeat, Al-Jabbar is in Sector 17, Building 6. Request precision strike. Grid coordinates transmitting." Command responded, "Strike in 15 minutes. Get clear." They reached a burned-out bus terminal, hunkering down. In the distance, the roar of jet engines echoed. Then came the whistle of falling bombs. 3 explosions lit up the district like a sunrise over hell. The building and everyone inside were vaporized. Silence followed. Volkov exhaled, scanning the smoking skyline. Target eliminated. But Mikhailov was fading. Sir. I'm sorry. I blew it. Volkov placed a hand on his shoulder. You did your duty. And you're going home. The team called in medevac. A Mi-8 helicopter arrived 30 minutes later under covering fire. As they lifted off, Volkov looked down at Grozny, its ruins, its ashes, its ghosts. He had no illusions. The war would rage on, names would change, enemies would evolve. But as long as there were shadows, Vega 4 would walk among them. Silently. Unseen. For the living. And for the dead.